To make happiness real for others is the greatest gift in the world, and it's free. I say, you want to know the definition of fulfillment, follow your heart, fight for a cause, see the hope that is born in someone else's eyes because of something that you were able to do for them. If we all make a conscious effort to initiate change in this world, imagine what life could be like, imagine how happy we could be, and imagine the gift we could give to people who could use our help.
Yes, my name is Stephen Gross, and I'm the Chief Playmaker of the Life is Good Kids Foundation. Well, I'm sitting right now in my house, which is in Newton, Massachusetts. I've been in the Boston area. I mean, I actually don't like saying I'm from Newton, Massachusetts. I used to live in West Roxbury. It always sounded better to say I'm from Boston because I like the way that rolls. Children I had coached. I was a summer camp counselor, and that was where I really felt I had the most passion. Was helping children to feel good about who they were, helping them to make friends, helping them to develop confidence. And then I said, okay, well, I got to use my distinct competence, which is playing and helping children grow through play, and then apply it to this same problem that I was looking at, which is poverty and homelessness and children who are impacted by big challenges like that. So that was kind of the birth of Project Joy. And started Project Joy and was working, running Project Joy for many, many years, and always got support from some friends of mine who grew up right down the street, Bert and John Jacobs, who later on founded a t-shirt company called Life is Good and turned $78 into a $100 million company.
Jake was just one of 100 drawings that were on our dive apartment wall back in 1994. And it was our friends who came over to a party we held after one of our road trips. They're the ones who pointed to him and said, you got to do something with him. He's got the world figured out. His power isn't in his physical strength or his foot speed or superior intellect. He doesn't have any of those things. His power is in his disposition. He just decides to be happy every day. A lot of us human beings, we put off happiness until I will be happy when I get that car, when I buy the new house, when I meet that special person, when I get a raise, when I get a new job, when I finish school. I mean, you can do it your whole life if you want. Or like Jake, you can just decide, I'm pretty lucky to be breathing right now. So that's the perspective I'm going to look at today with. And everything else from there can be an adventure as opposed to just a task of getting through a day.
Joy is something that comes from within. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that, and they spend their whole life kind of acquiring stuff and then wonder why they're not happy. When we have everything we need to be joyful. And I think one of the biggest things that helps people to be joyful is to be of purpose. And, when you can experience pleasure, when you can help other people, it is just such a gift. And that energy just replicates itself and creates like a ripple. And it just makes the world a better place.
Steve Gross, I've known since grade school a little bit. You won't believe this, but he was an incredible athlete. He still might claim that he is, but
should I roll up the sleeves so you can see my pipes?
Then he built from scratch, really, Project Joy, which is a nonprofit that dealt with kids who have been through a lot of trauma. And he's been building that for over 20 years. Early on, when Project Joy was in its infancy, we would get together and help Steve plan fundraisers on a small scale. It was a lot of fun. Anything you do with Steve Gross is fun. But it also was clearly a great cause, and you could tell Steve had just this passion for helping kids.
Trauma affects children deeply in a lot of ways, but what's most relevant to our work is that trauma, which I'll define here as like an overwhelming, frightening experience, it prevents children from feeling strong enough and safe enough to engage, connect, and explore with the world around them. So when children are impacted by overwhelming fear, it gets them to go into this place where they are trying to survive. And it actually changes the way children's brains develop. Because a healthy child, their brain is an exploring, engaging, playful brain. It's about looking around and touching, exploring, venturing out. And that playful, exploring brain is really what's special about human beings. And when children or adults are impacted by serious threat, that brain changes a little bit. And now that person doesn't feel safe to engage, connect, and explore. And instead, their focus is kind of on fighting, fleeing, hiding. And it really gets in the way of people feeling safe and powerful enough to engage, connect, and explore.
So we've worked together for a long time, and recently we decided to turn Project Joy officially into what we call the Life is Good Playmakers, and that's our nonprofit arm. We thought we could bring the strength of the brand to Steve's great nonprofit, and he's certainly given us a more focused purpose as a company that wants to help kids. We believe in the power of play, and we love what Steve's been building for so many years, so it's kind of a dream come true to work hand in hand with him.
I think Life is Good was a great partner because, you know, what in life, one of the things I learned in doing work in the trauma field is that what you pay attention to grows. If you look at a child and all you see is trauma, then the trauma grows. And if you look in a child and you can somehow find or see some joy in them, their strength, their creativity, you see beyond that and see what's right with that child and focus on what's right with that child can grow in a much greater way. And I think that's what the Life is Good brand was about. It's like, you know, their focus is on paying attention to what's right with the world, but not forgetting or turning a blind eye to what's wrong with the world.
There's so much negative info out there, and I think it's because sensational news gets people's attention, and it's all fear-based, fear-driven, and it doesn't do anyone any good. And there's so much focus on murders and fires and disasters, and you know, there is a place for that. And you know, the biggest place is if you're asking viewers to help a situation, but too much of it is just sensational and wants to appeal to that basic survival instinct in human beings, and it's not healthy for people to see that repeatedly. So no question, Life is Good was born as a response to that, and we were really happy to see it confirmed that yes, people not only responded well, they crave positivity in their world, and they find it so refreshing when they see positive messages. And the world needs a lot more of them. And my only advice to anyone regarding the negative news is just turn it off.
The company's not called Life is Perfect, and it's not called Life is Great. It's called Life is Good. And we're not hiding from the fact that there's injustice in the world, and there's suffering in the world, and there's challenge in the world, and there's pain. But if we delve in and only see that, we'll never be able to move towards hope, and we'll never be able to really address these issues if we can't address it from a perspective of optimism and hope and joy and love and creativity.